allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, what was it you wanted us to do first?
I recommend approval of our academic standards and our accountability report card scores, which is mandated by the state every year in the month of July. So if we could just motion for approval.
You want to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, what are we looking at?
This is the new portion of the building. Roger gave us just some blueprints, and there is kind of an electronic or a PDF of the entire building. It might be better just to walk some of the classrooms in just a little bit. But essentially, the direction we're looking for from the board is what you would like to do for next year with pre-K, given some of the recent counsel we've received from our insurance company and state fire code. Should we move pre-K? Should we wait to see what a referendum does? Should we plan for move next year? All those three options are on the table. Roger and Steve are here to speak to what a move might entail if it needed to be done yet this summer versus next year. And obviously, if it's part of a project, a remodel project, we would deal with it at that time. So I'll open it up to the board.
Anything new from our insurance company, Luke, since last?
Nothing new. They're just non-committal. They're not saying it. So essentially, the insurance company's position is that because you're aware of the state statute or the fire code or related rulings around fire codes, that and if you don't go forward and remediate it immediately, regardless of whether you have a plan for that or not, that it could cause, that's the key, it could cause loss of coverage. So not saying you will lose your coverage, not saying you won't lose your coverage, but if a claim were to come forward, they couldn't put any guarantees that that claim would be fully paid out because we had an issue that we were aware of that we had not remediated.
Is there anything
What
we can
email
do?
did you, I'm sorry.
Is there anything we can do upstairs to comply with code?
There is not anything that I have been counseled by either by Kevin with FEH or with John Gibson at EMC that would remediate that. We've talked about flip-flopping the gym and art room, the gym and art room areas with the pre-K areas. However, we still have pre-K kids that are in gym and art, so that would put them right back in the same rooms they're vacating. So that wasn't a solution. So then it really was bringing something up and putting something down. Most likely the library is right below the pre-K, so that would make the natural choice, but it's the biggest move. So then the next best solution would be the second grade room. However, that doesn't have bathrooms adjoining for our littlest ones that are in potty trained. So that led into the possibility of a first grade classroom swapping with the second grade classroom and then doing a flip with the pre-K. Would give us an adjoining restroom between the two kindergarten rooms. Each one of these has its own set of complications, and we've done no study monetarily about what it might cost to put restrooms into rooms or retrofit some of the rooms or even move some of the larger equipment.
I think it was swapping kindergarten and second.
Not, did I not say that?
It was first grade.
Thank you. Sorry, kindergarten second.
So, just to clarify, according to the fire code, we could keep the kids upstairs if there's sprinklers.
Correct.
So that would be one move that
could be.
Not that that's something I would consider cost effective, but.
Well, that is something I think we had to do regardless, I think with the renovations because of the lockers, the cubbies that we have here. They were mentioning if you have coats, and you're already in, you're also out of compliance just by the fact that you have cubbies with coats in them. That's a code violation. So, you know what, you see where this is going. You're going to follow that code. Why aren't you following this code? About to rip out the wood cubbies downstairs and replace them with metal lockers, which are not flammable. The wood cubbies by themselves are not a code violation. It's when you put the coats on them. They said that's too much material that could be flammable. And they did say that what a lot of schools are doing now is putting in sprinkler systems, which I think if Kevin was here, I think he would say that would be part of the renovation.
And therefore, you wouldn't need to have metal lockers for kids if you have the sprinkler system. So it gets back to what you're saying.
So why is there a cost if we move the pre-K to the existing kindergarten? There's a bathroom there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And when we move the kindergarten to where second grade is and second grade up, So why is there such a major cost that you're alluding to?
In that scenario, that's a later iteration. The one that we were looking at originally had a cost with the second grade adding a bathroom. That was where that cost would certainly exceed $5,000 to put in plumbing into that room.
But I'm looking for an answer for now.
Yeah, so I don't know if there'd be any costs associated with that move. I agree, Jeff, that would be the less expensive.
Well, then why are we not talking about that?
We're talking about whatever the board wants to go.
Well, that's where I'm at.
Okay.
So where's everybody else?
I think we have to move the kids
I agree.
because we're not in compliance legally and we're knowledgeable. If something happened, it's
Here's the,
inexcusable, so they have to be moved.
here's
Right.
the proposal that Jeff's talking about,
And
just
I
so you
think-
have a visual of what it looks like.
And I think Jeff's proposal is probably the best of the bunch because it's no
Well,
cash
buys us some
outlay.
time.
Buys some time. So we figure out the bigger process of what to do about the school overall.
I'd like to hear some staff input.
I'd
If
love
this is
to
an okay time, Jeff.
address, if that's okay. I first say that it never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be in front of you guys again so soon, but once again, you have some difficult decisions ahead of you and today, and I don't envy you, so I'd like to thank you for your hard work before I start. It's been called to our attention as kindergarten teachers that our rooms have become involved in this move discussion. I would like you to think of this as an address to cheer for our kindergartners, with myself as the cheerleader. I support Luke's position as leaving the rooms as status quo. You see, I've been here a long time, and this old cheerleader recalls that we've always referred to the lower floor as the lower floor, and the upper floor as the first floor. With the upper floor having the walk-in entry, it was always called the first floor. I'm not really sure wherever it changed, or it was likely with changes of principals and, you know, somebody just drawing a little thing on the little handbook. But somewhere, or an architect or something, but for proof, you can go right into the elevator and look at the elevator buttons. They say lower level, first floor. I commented on the Upland Hills. I think when I go to visit patients, the patients are on the first floor. Are they up in the air? Absolutely. However, if it's decided today that a move is necessary, I urge you to make the least effective students by supporting Mr. Renwick's original solution of switching just early childhood pre-K with either the IMC or second grade rooms. Here comes the kindergarten cheerleader part. I am here to root for our kindergarten students and their needs. Please remember our kindergarten students are in this building 100% of each school day, every day, for their very first time. They too use private bathrooms between the current classrooms often. Being these students' first experience in a full school day, we are often faced with accidents and the need for quick, urgent bathroom breaks. Our students in kindergarten currently use all of that space, including our backroom space, which is used for our WIN groups, our breakout groups, and lots of instruction. In addition to using these full spaces, including the restrooms, we feel the kindergarten, we need to cheer for our kindergarten PLC work, which is, has a need for keeping the kindergarten classrooms all in close proximity. That also aids in collegiate activities between the three classrooms. It seems it would be a detriment to our kindergarten students to make this change, and therefore kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul. Also pointed out that each kindergarten student is here for 100% of the school week. And preschool students are here about half days and no Wednesdays, so about probably 40% of the week. Don't get me wrong, I do support pre-K and early childhood, believe me, my daughter went there for 3 years. This is a very difficult situation to be put into. But I feel there are other choices for them, such as restrooms that are located in the old locker rooms that could be a private bathroom, which could be accessed by the students and their pre-K teachers, their assistants, which they are so fortunate to have. All of us are simply here to root and cheer for our own students. We know they deserve the best. Thank you again for listening. And this is just an old cheerleader from the lower floor. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Anybody else?
Well, I'll speak for second grade, and Denise and I have talked about it quite a bit, and we're just willing, it'll be a tremendous amount of work for us, but we're willing to do whatever the right thing is to do. If that means a lot of work in the last few weeks before school, goal to keep kids safe or to comply with codes, we'll do that. We've got little smiles on our face and a lot of anxiety, but we'll do it.
I was second Carrie's.
And I'll kind of piggyback off of both of them. I mean, this is a hard decision and none of us want to be here when it's almost August and we need to have our rooms ready in about a month. But I do think, as the early childhood teacher, I have to have a bathroom in close proximity to me. I have children who are not potty trained that I have to diaper. I have children who are in the process of being potty trained and you don't have time to run them very far. We've been very fortunate upstairs to have the bathroom right outside my door. So I've had, you know, it's been great, and I know that no matter where we move, it's gonna be a change. And again, none of us want this change, but we know that we have to do what's best for our students too. So just keep that in mind, I guess. We have to have a bathroom, a private bathroom within close proximity to the early childhood classroom.
Roger, Steve, you guys?
It makes a difference whether we're talking moving at all, moving 4 rooms, or moving 6 rooms with a minimal amount of time. Every summer we have all those rooms out in the hallway, and that would be the time to do it. Currently, of course, they're all back in, they're all ready to go. Like as mentioned, we're heading into August, and we have a minimal amount of time to make final preparations for the start of the school year. In less than a month, the teachers are going to be here in full force, preparing and planning. Mr. Francois' initial recommendation was to do the status quo for a year, considering that it's minimal risk. I tend to side with that. If we want to make a change, let's make it next summer. Every day we have risk here. Some avoidable, some unavoidable. If we want to look at fire codes, we could look at walls in the classroom being covered with more than 20% of flammable material, which is also against fire code, which we do. We have lamps in the classroom, which are against fire code, according to EMC. We have microwaves and refrigerators in the classroom, which are also a fire code. All these things, though, we haven't addressed because they're of minimal risk. We don't want, and the odds of a fire or a catastrophe in our schools is extremely minimal, and that's why some of these things haven't been addressed. So, the deal with the pre-K students, the risk involved is no different today than what it's been for the past, any day for the past 15 years. We hope we don't have a need for emergency exit, but it's always a possibility. The fire code stated about the potential of older kids pushing the smaller kids. That's why we have the 3rd graders exit before the pre-K students in the fire drill. For the past 7 years, I've observed and been responsible for the southwest door where the pre-K students exit during a fire drill. It's gone always very well. Again, we have the 3rd graders go first, pre-K students follow. I report into Roger when my door is clear. The door down here in the southwest corner is cleared as soon or sooner than some of the other doors. Potential for fire. The kitchen is probably the greatest potential for a fire risk. Again, at the far end of the building from the pre-K students. Or perhaps the boiler room, again, at the far end of the building. So I think our risk and our risk management is pretty minimal. So I would suggest we leave everything the way it is for this year, see where the referendum goes. Next summer when we have the rooms out, also provide opportunity for whether it be kindergarten teachers or 2nd grade teachers to pack up their stuff in May, and we can make these changes in June. That's my position. We're just too close to the beginning of the school year to be moving 6 rooms, in my estimation.
Last email I seen from you said that the insurance company said we would take the risk. Did that change? Because now you're saying it's minimal. This district will take the risk. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I tend to agree with Steve that it's like, maybe that risk is really small, but I'm not willing to put that onto our tax base and our taxpayers and staff. I think we need to make a move, but I'd like to see the areas. Does anybody else want to see them?
Just to
Physically walk, you mean?
Yeah.
Why not?
Just to point out just 2 things, as Steve mentioned, there's other risks out there. And again, the lockers, yeah, I don't know.
I
if
get that, yeah.
I'm just trying to share, you know, if we're looking at risk, you know, is pre-K upstairs more of a risk than the entire first floor of lockers? You know, I don't know. But that
We're
was
talking
something.
kids versus lockers.
But
To
that
me,
wa-
it is much
Excuse me.
different.
But that was something that came up as well from FEH. So, I don't know why that's something I was wondering, I guess, over the weekends, why are we picking this risk over that risk?
Roger, do you know the square footage of the kindergarten rooms?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay. Is it, but they appear to be smaller
The
than
ki-
what?
the kindergarten rooms
Yes.
themselves? I think they're, I mean, they're over 1,000 square feet.
Yeah.
They are,
Yeah,
okay.
pre-K is big. Second grade's around 775, I think. It's bigger than the traditional room.
From my standpoint, though, Larry, is, I mean, what Steve said is we talked about this, and so we're looking at it. From my standpoint, if we're gonna make any type, if we're gonna make any, even though they want private bathrooms, from my standpoint, the easiest move is the second grade rooms and use the bathrooms that are across the hall and specify the 2 handicap bathrooms in each room as, because they've got the full, you could put some type of changing thing in there if we're gonna do that. That would be the only space you would have. Because they're big, they're a bigger space than the standard stall. And it's just right across the
We'll
hall.
look at that.
Well, then we would close off one bathroom, is that what you're saying,
We could put a sign on that, do it issues for,
like one bathroom would be available for the rest
well,
of
I'm saying
the
in
first floor?
each
and then-
bathroom, make each bathroom have that one boy or no girl.
Question though, then, how could I go into the boys' bathroom?
Just, if you're gonna take a boy in there,
Then you close off the
you
bathroom
can
door?
close the door up, put a sign up.
There hasn't been a school here.
I mean, that's the easiest move.
Any schools will start.
And you can drill and they have to get out of the building and somebody gets hurt. And we're liable because insurance is gonna write us off. Let's just go look and see. I'm only one vote, so it doesn't matter. Just wants to lead the way.
Probably somebody, probably either
Staff.
Roger, yeah, somebody.
What's everybody think?
Well, personally, I think our parking lot issue out there is a hell of a lot more dangerous than having our pre-K students upstairs. Parent drop off and pick up.
I'll just say that, I mean, I think we do have a lot of code issues. That's how we got to this remodel referendum in the first place, right? This is fixing one of many code issues. I don't feel like, given the nature of the structure, how we've been this way for a long time, the minimal fire risk, I feel like this shouldn't necessarily be a higher priority than all other code issues that we're gonna try to address. I feel like that trying to do this now is not worth the risk we're taking for another year. So I would probably support sticking with the status quo, and then we'll see if the remodel gets approved with the referendum, and then we can do whatever we want to make it right for everything. And then, you know, staff can have input, we can make plans where everyone has everything they need. That's my 2 cents.
Motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we stick with the status.
Leave it as is.
Leave the arrangement as is and reevaluate after the school year.
Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Okay, any other thoughts?
Um,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Andy can start, I don't care.
You go ahead.
Okay. I'm in agreement with Doc and Larry. The building itself, from what I've been told, that masonry is not combustible. So it's not, you know, it doesn't matter what room you're in, it's all the, kind of the litter inside, kind of like Steve pointed out. I mean, this room could go up in flames, but it's gonna be somewhat contained. It's masonry on every side, so, that's my thoughts. I would, you know, like they said, we've been this way for 15+ years. To change everything around is kinda
right now, especially, kind of like Doc said, in the midst of a possible referendum and revamping everything we already have. Why change it twice?
I do have a question on, it seems to be a concern of the fire drills themselves and kids leaving the building. Is there anything else that we could do to alleviate a possible problem there? Or are we doing the best we can, Roger?
Well, the only option you have for fire drills is to come down those steps or to go the whole hallway. I mean, and with the speed that we get those 4-year-olds out of here is fairly efficient and fairly safe. Like I said, Steve's at the bottom of the steps. And they're holding on to the railing, they're going down. They're out of the building usually. The longest drill we've ever had down there for the 4-year-olds to get out of here is 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So you really think 2 minutes and 20 seconds for a drill, that's not very long.
It sounds like the only 2 grades that go down the outside from the top stairs is 3rd and pre-K, is that correct? And like Steve said, you have a plan that you hold pre-K till 3rd grade's out, and then pre-K goes, right? So that reduces risk of trampling and that kind of thing.
And the 3rd graders are great helpers. So sometimes that makes it go that much quicker because some of them will hold the doors that close and some of them will grab a hand if a kid is nervous and it just kind of helps us out as well, so.
I just want to be clear, I don't think any of this gets us out of a fire code issue if anything should happen, but I mean, I feel like, you know, if an incident would happen, we would be as safe as we could be, and then we wouldn't have to have a claim filed due to someone getting injured.
One thing we can do is relook at our fire drills themselves and maybe introduce some novel situations. What if the fire is on the 2nd floor hallway? You know, and 4th grade, for example, can't go that way. How are we gonna do that? And practice some unique fire drills based on where a fire might be located, such as the kitchen that Steve brought up. You know, we could practice those and just make sure, you know, like you were saying, that the pre-K kids are getting out in a timely fashion. That's something we can do.
What's also good is near each exit, there's a fire extinguisher. If there happen to be a fire in that general area, very quick, you can very easy and grab a fire extinguisher to extinguish a fire that would allow a rapid exit.
And certainly, we will find out in FEH's proposal, if any of them proposals include a sprinkler system.
It's gonna be required. If we add anything onto this building, it's gonna be required.
With additions, but with renovations, would it be included in too?
I think it was.
It was,
I
okay.
think so.
And that takes care of the locker issue, that takes care of the entrance issue.
Okay. That's all the questions I have.
I guess, Ryan, I'm with you, Jeff, that just leaving us at risk drives me crazy, but I don't think one fix gets us off the hook. I think the issue we incurred with the assessment is we were made aware of several code violations, and I think insurance companies being insurance companies, you know, okay, we moved the pre-K, but you hung coats in the hallway, and you didn't fix that, and we're not covering your claim.
Yeah, they always find a reason not to pay.
So I think
From
unless
my
we're gonna
experience.
unless we're gonna address all of them, it sounds like the fire drills themselves are not, the teachers are not aware whether they're real or not, and they're going well. So I think we either have to address them all, or I'm okay with status quo until we find out, you know, what's next.
I think even if the referendum fails, we can make a plan to address as much as we can
I think we're
over the next summer.
Well, I think hearing all this, I've come around to status quo now. I'm like Andy though, once you know something's not right, I like to fix it right away. But when you balance it on a scale of time and all the other things, and I agree that you've got a number of violations here that would cause the insurance company to buckle in payment for, so I think we should stick status quo after hearing everything, especially from the staff too.
Okay, any other comments?
And personally myself, I'll have a child myself in the pre-K. pending if the teachers pass the interview process.
Start with Morgan.
Okay, I'm gonna take a roll call. Dr. Dunn,
The motion's to stick status quo, I'll vote yes.
Dr. Lindsay,
Yes.
Nate,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
I vote no. Pass 5-1. Okay,
Thank you for the direction.
can we, motion to adjourn?
I'll make motion.
All right, we're adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.